Hello students, welcome back to my channel again. This is Anamika Talukdar and today I'm here with a new lesson from your democratic politics book, that is What is Democracy, Why Democracy. Before I start this, I want to tell you that in my previous videos I completed lesson 1 from economics, the story of village Palampur, and lesson 1 from history, the French Revolution. So these two lessons I have made some parts of the videos, and in the last part of the video I have given all the links of all the parts in the description box, so you can go through from the last part only for each of the lesson. And as I do not know many students from class 9, so share these videos to your friends and ask me if you have any doubt or query regarding any topic or any part of the lesson. So let's start today with lesson 2, that is What is Democracy, Why Democracy. In my first video, if you have gone through it, I have told you that the first lesson of democratic politics is not needed. It is omitted because there are some examples from different countries, these countries which became a democracy after a long period of time, after a long fight by people. Then some of the countries again became non-democratic government. So these had a mixed record. There are some examples of different countries and this lesson is omitted. Lesson 2, you will get the definition of democracy, democracy in real sense, democracy, how can we use it even in our lives also. Then are we following the real rules and regulations which are provided to us? Are we following the real features of democracy? So about these things you are getting in lesson 2, that is What is Democracy, Why Democracy. Now question may arise like, why the definition is given in the second lesson and examples are given in the first lesson? Why the examples first and definition in the second one? Generally what we do, at first we go for the definition or the meaning and then we go for the examples. But don't you think it's not necessary all the time in our lives to go for the definition first and then to have the examples? Sometimes we also can experience the examples, we can feel the examples before we know the meaning, like rain, love, or before we use a pen. We do not go for a meaning. Even if we do not know the meaning, then also we can feel, then also we can write by the pen. So it's not necessary in life all the time to know the meaning first and then go for the examples. Sometimes examples teach us better. Sometimes examples gives us better meaning than the definition. And after we know and experience the examples, then we go for the definition. So like that, here again, even if the lesson 1 is not needed for you, you can go through the lesson 1, you can understand the examples, then you can know the proper meaning of democracy, that how did these countries had to fight for getting democracy. Again it became non-democratic government. So these examples will make you understand better that what democracy or how democracy looks like. Let's start the lesson. What is democracy? All of us, we know a simple definition of democracy, that is by people, of people and for people. This is the simplest one. Or even we know the another one also, democracy is a form of government where the ruler is elected by people. These are the simple definition of democracy and these are going on from a longer period of time. But it's not like compulsory that the definition which are famous or which are accepted by all, we also have to accept it and we cannot think beyond that. We also can think beyond these definitions. These are correct definitions, no doubt. But we also can think beyond these simple definitions and we can apply the meaning of democracy, the definition of democracy, and even in our lives also. I'll give you some example how can we use it in our lives. And even if we do not know the proper meaning of democracy or the meaning of democracy in a true sense, then we'll not be able to apply it even in our life and even with our government. So let's start with the definition which is given in your book. That is, democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. I already told you this. So democracy is a form of government where the ruler means the representative, the person or the government who will be representing the citizens of the country or citizens of the place, or who will be representing and making the decisions, making the rules and regulations on behalf of us, and that ruler is elected where? in the election. By whom? By the citizens, by us. So this is a simple form of simple meaning of democracy. So democracy is a form of government where the representatives are elected by us, by the people, by the citizen. Now here some of the questions are asked. So democracy is a form of government in which rulers are elected by the people. But who are these rulers? And what are the criteria that one can become a ruler or one can become a representative? Then what kind of election constitute a democratic form of election? Or for being a democratic form of election, what are the rules and regulations elections needs to follow? Then who are the people can elect the rulers of country? Like I said about the citizen, but who are these people? Are all the people treated equally? Are all of the people in the country having the same rights, same equality in the country? So these are some of the questions asked, and these answers will get it with the features of democracy. If the features are fulfilled, then we can say that country is having a proper form of democracy. Otherwise, a country having an election can be called as democracy, but that will not be a form of democracy in a true sense. A country just having an election or just ruled by a representative, a country which is ruled by a representative, or that representative is elected by the people, the citizen, on the basis of the voting or in an election, that will not only be the true form of democracy. For being a democratic form of government or for performing as a democratic form of government, it needs to follow some of the features of democracy. So one by one we are going to discuss, but before that, for better understanding, you are given an example first and then the feature of democracy. So let's start. In Pakistan in 1999, I think you have heard about General Pervez Musharraf. He was a general, he was a former general, he was a politician, and also he was the 10th president of Pakistan. And how did he become the president of Pakistan? I'm telling you now. In 1999, he led a military coup, that is military power in the country in 1999. And then he overthrew the democratically elected government. Just see here, the Pakistan before 1999, it was a democratic government, and then it was overthrown by the power of Pervez Musharraf, by the military power. Then he declared himself as chief executive of the country. Chief executive having like senior position and having the administrative powers. So he declared himself that. After that, he held a referendum. Now what is referendum here? Referendum is a public vote or a vote for a particular reason by the electorate. So referendum was held, and in that referendum he got a yes from public, but later on it was said that the referendum was based on malpractices and fraud. That means it was illegal, and it was said by Pakistani media, then many organizations, then even many democracy activists, they said that the referendum was illegal. So this referendum, when he won that vote, then he got 5 years extension, and he declared himself as the president of Pakistan in 2002. After he became the president of Pakistan, then a order was passed. A legal framework order was passed. For this order, now he had the power to amend the constitution. Now meaning of amend is, or meaning of amendment is, you will get the meaning of amendment later on, and this word also you will get. Amendment meaning is making some small changes or making small changes or modifications in the constitution. Now Pervez Musharraf could modify or could make changes in the constitution as he wanted to do it. So he did it. And after that, what he did, when he got this power, and even for this power, he could dismiss the national and provincial assemblies also whenever he wanted. That means national and provincial assemblies were done in different areas, and people voted for different representatives who would represent them for their country, like elections takes place in our country. In that way also, in Pakistan also elections used to take place. And in those elections, national and provincial assemblies, representatives were chosen by people. but this could be dismissed. These assemblies could be dismissed by Pervez Musharraf. He had that power. And even cabinet of Pakistan, that means cabinet of that country, was also looked after, or it was, the power was taken by military, and even the work of the cabinet was also supervised by the military powers. So you can see here national and provincial assemblies were done, which was again under the power of Musharraf, that is General Pervez Musharraf, and then cabinet was also supervised by military powers. So here we can see elections were held or elections were done. Their people also voted for the representatives. Then Pervez Musharraf was the president. They had an elected government. He also won by a referendum, by holding a referendum, but that referendum was illegal. So here we can see that Pakistan had election, but was it a real election? Can you now say that every country having election can be said as democracy? Because here we cannot see a proper form of democracy. The representatives which were chosen by people, they had no powers only. They had some powers, not no powers actually. They had some powers, but final powers were always with the hands of military and Pervez Musharraf himself. So final power, if even the representatives which were chosen by people, they wanted to have some power, they wanted to take some decisions. If those decisions were not liked by Pervez Musharraf and the military officers, then they used to dismiss or they used to cancel those decisions. So here we can see that final powers were with the hands of Pervez Musharraf and military officers, but they were not chosen by people. So how can we say that the elections which were going on in Pakistan, this was proper election, this is a proper form of government or proper form of democratic government? We cannot say it. So from this example, here we can get the feature and which will fulfill the proper meaning of democracy. That is, in a democracy, the final decision-making power must rest with those elected by the people. So the final decision-making power must rest with those who are elected by people, and which did not happen in Pakistan. So though elections were going on in Pakistan, but Pakistan could not be said as a democratic form of government, because final decision making power did not rest with the one who were chosen by people. So I think it's clear to you. The first feature of democracy is final decision making power in a democracy must rest with the people, must rest with the person or with the representative who is elected by people. So today I have only completed one feature and the meaning of democracy. Tomorrow I will explain you the next feature of democracy. I hope the first feature and example which I explain is clear to you. If not clear, then you can ask me in the comment section. So for today, thank you very much.